back from the break. We are still talking issues with regards to the economy. My guest this morning is Opinion Kwame Jantua. He's a legal practitioner and member of the CPP. Philip London Safohene is a member of the New Patriotic Party. And let's quickly talk about this. Road tolls is coming back. We've cross-checked with the Ministry of Roads, and they're saying it's a misrepresentation. But what's your take on it? Should it be reintroduced?
Thank you very much. I think I suspect, I saw an interview where the roads minister was interviewed, and he spoke about the need to have road tolls, and went further to say that, give the example of some advanced economies where electronically tolls are collected, and people don't go through the hassle of queuing and that kind of thing, and it's very expensive. That's why he mentioned about 3 times it's very expensive. I don't know whether he was trying to suggest to others that it's coming back very expensive. Anyway, road tolls are important, and all over the world, road tolls are necessary. Road tolls, even government-constructed roads, are tolled. In some cases, main highways are tolled, some sections of roads are tolled, bridges are tolled. Sometimes a diversion or a short slipway is provided, and people pay tolls to use that road to shorten their... All these things are done as a way of raising revenue to help in the road construction and road maintenance, budget. But the way we went about it was not the best. I remember President Kufuor's time, Tema Motorway. They started a pilot scheme where I think the 6 toll booths, the last 2 were electronic.
Right.
Those who were buying and sticking on their windscreens didn't queue. And it was a pilot. And the whole idea was that we were going to extend it nationwide. University of Ghana does it. So many places do it. While you're going through their gates, either for tolling or for security access, without having the electronic access, you cannot even enter. So these are facilities that exist. And so I am one of those who were very disappointed that road tolls were removed. What we could have done was to deploy advanced systems which are not alien to our country. We have them here. We already have them deployed. We've deployed them before on Tema Motorway. I didn't see why we couldn't do it. And then adjust the rates a little. Yes, a saloon car paying 50 pesos might sound ridiculous.
So we should be ready to pay more?
Pay a little bit more. A little bit more. I remember when the then finance minister, the Honorable Yao Safumaf, increased road tolls from, I think, 5 pesos. At that time we hadn't really nominated. It was, he doubled it. And people thought it was crazy. People got annoyed. But people appreciated it. The service was improved. And everybody was happy. So if these things are done and people get a sense that they are getting some good service in return, I don't see anybody who will complain. So for road tolls, as a measure of revenue generation, I think it's good. And it should be considered coming back.
I see. Opinion?
If they go down the route of e-levy, where they started with a certain percentage that the people couldn't afford, and they do the same for road tolls, where they come up with some astronomical figure for people to pay, they would not get the expected revenue they are looking for. Let me tell you something that has happened in the last 2 weeks. Fuel prices went up. The OMCs, the oil marketing companies, are saying the demand for fuel dropped because of the increased pricing. So when this window happened and the prices were increased, they took that burden. That's why we are seeing petrol and diesel at the prices they are today. So we should be very careful. If we're going to increase road tolls, we should do it scientifically so that people would afford. Otherwise, they will not use it. And if they don't use it, you do not get the amounts of money you have budgeted for. Look, we are the lowest, we have one of the lowest rates for tolls in the world. one of the lowest rates. And tolls are used to maintain the road. And this is where the challenge is. People don't see the roads being maintained when there's a toll booth. Look at the motorway. When I was running at Domi Bridge toll booth, the motorway at the time, in that old city before it was redenominated, was 500 million one side. Did we see them maintain the motorway? And that is the challenge. If you are collecting tolls for a specific road, make sure that you use that money to maintain the road. That is when people will appreciate and even will be prepared to pay more. Look, I said the other day, if with e-levy, when we were shouting that, no, please bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, and government listened to us and brought it down to probably 0.80%. Today, if government came back to us and said to us, and with that 0.80%, it would be insignificant, so people will use e-levy. If today, government came and said, look, where the economy is, we need to increase e-levy to 1.5, 1.75%. Who will complain? Who will complain? Because we know government needs money. But you put a certain price and expect the people to take that price, and the people say, we can't afford that price, and you do nothing about it. So they should be very careful how they bring out the new toll booth pricing. If you jack the price too high, people will find ways around it. If you jack the price too high, you also be creating corruption within the toll booth. Okay, you say it's going to be electronic. How electronic will it be? What is going to drive that electronic mechanism? Is it electricity? Is it solar? Is it battery? And what happens if there's a malfunction? What happens if cars are coming and there's a malfunction in the, and we know it happens, there's a malfunction in the equipment and the lever doesn't open? Isn't that length of car standing? Because what you're trying to do away with human contact. Look, we need, if we're going to do electronic, we need to go out there and study how this thing is done and make sure that there's a standby team who can maintain the electronic equipment. Because you see, we need to take into consideration the kind of weather we have. We need to take in consideration the kind of electronic mechanism we have. And we need to take in consideration how we even deploy the mechanism that you stick on the windscreen to read your vehicle. Look, in the UK, it's electronic. Sometimes you will not even see the camera. The moment you pass through, even let's put the toll aside, the speeding ones, the moment you pass through with speed, it takes your car number. They know your address. You'll be sitting at home
your
when through the mail, your fine has come through. We said we are doing electronic mailing system. Can we do that here? So will it work here? You see, so for me, all these things need to be put in place as one, so that when we are moving, we know we are moving, and we can guarantee the amounts of money that we are expecting.
Like I said, we've had a trial run since 2007.
And what happened to it?
It worked.
And what happened to it?
It worked
Yes,
until
it worked. What
the
happened to
ministry
it?
decided not to continue with it.
Why?
Ask them.
Why?
Ask me.
Physical money is easier to take than electronic money.
You see, when it comes to these things,
corruption
I remember
is in there.
when mobile phones came. Mobile phones, all mobile phones. I had a mobile phone in those days. The bills come postpaid at the end of the month. They sent you. Then, as the system became easier, they said, "Oh, now you can buy the credit and load it on your phone." People said, "What if you are going to buy credit and the person is not?" They didn't understand. But there are natural adjustments to these things. It works. Today, who complains about going to buy credit? But there were people who had serious issues with it. The same way when this one was brought up initially, people had, they are convenient. Ayalolo buses. When they started, and they started, it's a cashless system. People complained. There are people who are running for Ayalolo. They don't talk about it any longer. So you see, yes, people might complain and have anticipate certain issues. But in the design of the service delivery, all these things have been taken into account. And it will run smooth, you know. So,
You know,
I believe that the digital, the electronic process of taking the road tolls is a very good thing. We've done it before. We have it operating in various areas in this country right now. And I don't see why we can't do it.
you know what? You know what? Something came to me. It's not everybody who would be able to do the electronic,
Exactly.
to buy the electronic chip and put it on your car. So you can have a toll card where anybody using the toll, you need to put money on that toll card. As you move through the toll, you just scan it, it takes the money out. Easy.
You can transfer money from
Easy.
your phone onto the card.
Easy.
You
Easy.
transfer money from your phone onto the card, and the card is credited. And as you pass,
You just scan it.
it can even give you
You
a
just scan
reading
it.
of how much credit you still
That
have
is
left
how you
and how
bring
many times the
everybody
car
on
has
board.
passed.
That is how you bring. That's why I'm saying you need to think
Exactly.
into it and do it well for once.
And you know, it even helps with fleet management.
yes,
Fleet
it
management.
helps with so many things.
When you can tell
So
how
many
often
things.
your vehicle crossed the Kaswa toll booth or whichever toll booth.
Right.